We get to go to New York and talk again to head coach Paul Riley of the Western New York Flash. He joins us on the shopfutsal.com line. Coach, good afternoon and welcome to Two Up Front, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well.
Paul, it's great to have you here, and I'm glad I'm around this time to talk to you because Baxter couldn't shut up about the great conversation you guys had the last time you were around. So I'm excited to get this rolling.
Paul's just a lovable guy, I guess. He just has a lot of good things to say. But Coach, you face a very intriguing opponent during your playoff matchup this weekend. You go in as the 4th seed. Have you fully embraced the underdog status, or are you thinking that you guys are a lot better than some critics might be giving you props for headed into the playoffs now?
No, I think that's a fair enough label for us. I think based on the season, I think the best team won it, and we're in 4th place, and I think we're quite happy with that. I think there's not one person, not one opponent in the country that put us in the Final Four. So, I think we've obviously achieved a lot just by getting in. But, I don't want the players to be content and, happy with the status quo, and we're just there for the thrill of it. And I think they've worked hard and they've done a lot of good things. And the improvement in the team over the 7 months has been dramatic. And really pleased with the development of obviously some of the individual parts of the team too. And, we've got nothing to lose. I mean, all the pressure's on them. They've got a fully international squad, and they're playing at home for the first time. And I think the biggest thing for our club, and I've emphasised it a lot this week, is this will be an experience for the players that they'll never forget. An opportunity for them to be a better player. And this game, and this season might have come a year early for us. So I think for them to be able to play in front of 20,000 with this kind of pressure and this kind of cup tie atmosphere will be the thing that they'll remember the best. And if you get a taste of this, you're going to want this back again. And that's the most thing I can ask, is that we get a taste of it, and with the players, and it's a young team, that they want to come back and taste it again. And, hopefully we'll start next year with a bit more verve. And I think for the other 3 teams, I think they're set on trying to win it for us. It's a development process, and we're still very, very young. And, I think there's no question we think we can win the game by the way we play. And, we're going to attack them, and they like to score goals, and they're going to have to play well to beat us. And, we're just going to enjoy the whole atmosphere and everything, and hopefully improve from it.
Yeah, Coach, you did mention having a young team, and you just looking at the amount of games played between the players, there was obviously a lot of different lineups you had to put out during the season. How do you approach each game, especially last game of the season? You're going to be playing against Boston, who hasn't been the best, but they were on a bit of a good streak there. And you end the season with such a statement of a 4-0 win. How do you approach a game in which you're not sure who you're going to be playing the next game, but you need to win this game to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first playoff game for us, really, to be honest with you. It was like a cup tie for us, and we prepared it like a cup tie, a one-off, and they responded really well. I mean, we had Taylor Smith at right back for the first time all season. This is a young player that never got drafted, and she had a great season for us, and she's one of our great stories, I think. And she came in, had a great game against Boston, and I think, we scored early. We talked a lot about scoring early in games, and I think the 8 times we've scored first, we've won. We're 8-0, when we score first. So I think it's important we get the first goal in the game. We had a dress rehearsal in Portland a couple of weeks ago, which I think was good for our young team too, because they were in that type of atmosphere already. And obviously it was a hard-fought game, and I think if we got the first goal during the first 30 minutes when we were on top, the result might have been different. But we didn't, and then we learned from the experience. But the fact is that we had a dress rehearsal, and we know what we're getting ourselves into. We know what kind of cauldron it's going to be. And, a couple of the players have said to me the best moment was when it went deathly quiet after Lynn Williams scored the second goal, and that feeling of just quiet in the stadium is something that I think the players are looking forward to trying to do, So,
yeah, and a lot of credit as well to your goalkeeper, Sabrina D'Angelo, who just made, an outstanding save when you guys were up early to keep you in the game and keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I mean, Sabrina was a critical save, obviously, and I think, since the Olympics, obviously she got injured before the Olympics, and she was out for a good 2.5 months, and I think coming back is taking her 3 or 4 games to get her timing right. But now her timing is, the Boston game was the best game of the season for me, and we've had 2 clean sheets in a row. We played Thailand, we got a clean sheet against them, and we got a clean sheet against Boston. So for us, we've been a bit light in the back. We've made some mistakes. We've had to change the back line a lot and the goalkeeping a lot this year. So we've had some stability the last couple of games, and I think they go in with a lot more confidence than they've maybe had over the entire season. And the back line, the goalkeeper, the 22, 22, 21, and 23. with a very, very young back line and goalkeeper. There's not a ton of experience there either, compared to obviously what the opponent has. So I think that's going to be a big moment for us. Will be that first 20 minutes just to get ourselves together, keep ourselves, compact, and make sure that we don't get beat early in the game, and then we stay in the game. After the longer the game goes on, the better chance we have of winning it if we stay around.
Now, Coach, I'm curious now because there has been criticism tossed at your team because of two different reasons. One, because you played Boston 4 times this year, so folks say that was kind of an easy 4 games for you that you were able to kind of cash in on. And then there's also been criticism applied to Lynn Williams as well because she won the Golden Boot with 11 goals, but she had such a big game against Boston, as many folks remember early on through the season. Do you listen to that criticism, and do you actually believe some of that and say, well, yeah, we kind of got fortunate that Boston was bad this year, or A, are you just that good, and B, is Lynn really that talented?
Well, I for us, I don't give a hoot, obviously, but I think you got to look at the fact sheet, and the facts say something different within the top 4 for most of the season. Seattle can complain, but at the end of the day, they played Portland twice when Portland had all 7 or 8 of their players away. But when we played Portland, they had their full squad. When we played Houston, they had their full squad both times. So Seattle only took 1 out of 6 points during that start against Portland, and then Seattle only took 1 point against us. So the closest team to us had the opportunities and didn't take them. So for us, we took the opportunities, and I don't think Boston's that bad of a team. And when you look at their results and you take off 17 goals off against them, their defensive record's no worse than Orlando's or Houston's, so
that is true.
From that perspective, I'm not really worried.
Well, speaking of,
I'm not really, worried about that sort of thing. And for our players, and for Lynn Williams, to be honest with you, she's been the best forward in the league all season. I don't think anybody can deny that. She scored goals, she's had assists, her work rate is phenomenal, and she's been durable. And for a player that's this young at an age to be able to play every single minute of every game, you got to put your hats off to her. And I think she's been tremendous, and I think she deserves MVP. Me personally, I think she's been the best player, most productive player in the league, and she's played every game. There's other players who've only really turned it on for half a season or stuff like that, but I think she's been consistent for us. And the only team that's beaten us twice all season is Portland, and the only other team that won us on the series is Washington. And they're the 2 top teams. Everybody else we've beaten or we've won the series between us and them. So I don't think anyone can have any complaints at the end of the day. So for us, it's, we're here, we're on the top 4, just got to get on with it. We're surprised, a little bit. I don't think we expected to be in the season, but we're here, and they've worked tremendously hard all year, so we're looking forward to giving Portland the game. It is the only team that's beaten us twice, so I think there's a little bit of an edge there too, we don't want to get beat 3 times by the same team, so we'll be working hard for sure.
Well, absolutely, Coach. And with looking at Portland this coming weekend, I mean, you're playing against a roster of all-star women's soccer. Ellie Long, Michelle Betos, Megan Klingenberg. The list goes on and on and on. Of course, Christine Sinclair is thrown in there, Tobin Heath. You've lost to them twice. So what's going to make this game different from the others for the Western New York Flash?
I think it's getting on the board first. I think both teams, we had the better of the first half in both teams. We didn't score, and then we paid the price, and the penalty in both games, I think that were dubious. That would have probably changed the game too. So I think you need a bit of luck. There's no question. We're going to need to ride our luck a little bit. But I think the one thing that we don't worry about, we don't talk about names. And I know the players very, very well. I've coached a lot of them. Emily Menges, Michelle Betos, Nellie Long played for me in the youth days back in Long Island for Alberts and Fury. So I know those 3 really well. Obviously, I've coached Sinclair. I've coached quite a few of the other players too. So, we know exactly how they're going to play. We know everything about them. I think for us, we're a little bit more of the unknown. We're not the type of team that people really know what we're going to do. And, I think that's probably the naivety of our team too. A little bit naive. We're very young. And, I think that's probably the good part for us. They're very difficult to play against. We pressure hard. We go in a high press. And I think we're just going to be difficult for them. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your name's on the back of your shirt once the game starts. It's 11-11, and we'll just take it as it comes and do our best that we can. I just want it to be a great experience for these guys. So for future years, this is something that they want to achieve every year, and it's not just something now we just expect it to come back to it, because it's not easy to be in the 4 teams that make the playoffs. And, next year Seattle will be better. Kansas City will be better. Sky Blue's got a good group now. So I think there's going to be, Houston will be better for next year. So you never know. You may never get back there again. So enjoy it, make the most of it, and try and get a result.
Well, fair enough. Well, Coach, we wish you the very best of luck this weekend. You can catch the Portland Thorns playing host to Paul Riley's Western New York Flash Sunday night, October 2nd at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. Coach Riley, thank you so much for taking your time today, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Paul. Good luck this weekend.